From Bristol International Raceway, Bristol, Tennessee, in the extreme northeastern portion of the state, we welcome you to the Budweiser 200. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, along with Larry Newber. This is our first live telecast for 1985. It's a big racing weekend here. Tomorrow, the Valleydale 500 Grand National Race. Today, the Budweiser 200 Late Model Sportsman Race. Our first telecast, not an IndyCar race, not a Grand National race, but a late model sportsman race. And when you compare it to, say, baseball, Larry, it certainly is AAA league.
Well, every year the cars get just a little faster, and they certainly get nicer looking. And NASCAR is looking at this division just that way as its next step underneath the major leagues. This is good racing and promises to be an exciting race.
5 former late model sportsman champion are in the starting lineup today. The defending champion, Sam Ard, is not in the lineup. He's still recuperating from injuries late last season. The current points leader, Jimmy Hensley, is in the lineup, and from the Grand National ranks, Jeff Bodine.
Well, Hensley and Ard, they have driven the same car in the past 2 years. Ard is still recovering from injuries from a year ago, and Hensley was a bit of a surprise as the selection for replacing Sam in the car. He's already won a race this year. He's been around a number of years in race driving, and he's like the Cinderella story of this year. And then we look at Jeff Bodine. He is the best qualified of all the Grand National stars running in this race. Now, he will not run every race this year on this trail, but how high can he finish in points by running maybe half of the races? We'll see.
And the pole sitter for today's race with a new track record here at Bristol is Tommy Ellis. With him, the third member of our broadcast crew today, here is Jack Arute.
Thank you, Bob. One of the things that's so great about Bristol International Raceway is it lends itself well to aggressive drivers. And the man who has planked himself on the pole is probably one of the most aggressive in the business, Tommy Ellis. Tommy, it looks like you're not going to have to fight too hard to come to the front today.
Well, you know, fortunately, in Freelander Pontiac qualified on the pole, we ran very good. We owe a lot of that thanks to engine builders, Horns and Eanes out of Richmond. They did a really good job in building us an engine that would have enough horsepower to put us on the pole. You know, this is a horsepower racetrack, and, you know, we've had what we needed here at Bristol, and we've run good ever since we've been here, and hopefully we can start this race and continue on.
Well, the temperatures have increased here today. It's a beautiful spring day. Will the heat be a factor?
Well, I feel like the heat will be a factor. I hope that we've made the right decision in setting that chassis up, because as hot as it is, I feel like this racetrack's going to get a little bit greasy. If it does, your car's going to have to be a little tighter. And if that's the case, we'll be in good shape. But on the other hand, if a racetrack gets tight and stays tight, then we may be a little tight, and we may have to adjust the car a little bit during the race. Hopefully, we've made the right decision.
Well, if those adjustments take place, down here on pit road will be where they'll happen, and we'll be here to cover it all for the entire Budweiser 200 LMS race. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you, Jackie. The Budweiser 200 is brought to you by the STP Corporation. On the world's racetracks and on the world's roads, depend on STP, your car care company. And by Skull Bandits, tobacco in a neat little pouch. It's a little pouch of tobacco pleasure. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? We'll be back with the starting lineup for today's Budweiser 200 in just a moment.
One shock absorber is so superior, it has been used by every world champion for 13 consecutive years. Coney. Coney. So superior, they're standard on every Ferrari, on every Aston Martin, on Mustang SVO. Coney, the ultimate performance shock. Adjustable for wear, guaranteed for life. Less body lean, more stability, crisper handling. Put the world's finest performance shocks on your car. Coney, proven superior.
450 degrees. That's how hot parts of your car's engine can get, even in ordinary driving. Watch how heat and stress can break apart your oil's protected molecules. That's motor oil breakdown. STP oil treatment's heat-activated molecules fight motor oil breakdown, fortifying your oil with extra lubricants and anti-wear agents. Get extra protection. Fight motor oil breakdown with STP oil treatment. STP, your car care company.
And we welcome you back to Bristol, Tennessee, where it is a beautiful day. The temperature is 82 degrees. We have a westerly wind at 6 miles an hour, gusting up to 15. Chance of rain is listed as 20% today. The humidity is 76 degrees, and for the most part, skies are sunny. Now, this Bristol International Raceway is a very unique racetrack. It is a .533-mile oval. The front stretch and the back stretch, both 1,100 feet in length. The turns are 60 feet wide, and the banking on the turns is between 35 and 36 degrees. leading to speeds well in excess of 115 to 16 miles an hour. In fact, the pole-setting speed by Tommy Ellis here this weekend, 16.829 seconds, 116.829 miles an hour. 30 drivers and cars are lined up on pit road, and in just a few minutes, the pace car will be pulling away, and we'll get underway with this 200-lap race around the half-mile track. Let's go down quickly to the pit area, and Jackie Arute, who's with Sam Ard.
Well, it's highly unusual that you would see Sam Ard sitting in his street clothes on this side of pit wall, but that's the case this year. Sam, you were injured at the end of last year. First, what is your condition?
Well, we're doing just fine. We're just waiting for a chance to get back in the race car, really.
And you're serving in what capacity with Eddie Falk today?
Well, we're sort of trying to help out is, get the car to working right and handling right for him so he can put in, have a good race today.
As a defending national champion in this division, is it frustrating to be on this side waiting for the command gentleman start your engine and know that you won't get to push the ignition switch?
Well, frustrating, I don't know about that, but, I'd rather be out there in the car.
What do you expect in 1984? 85. Do you think you'll be back in a race car?
Well, I don't know for sure right now. I expect to be back in the race car before the season's out anyway.
Well, we'll wait to see, and hopefully we'll be able to capture it here on ESPN. Let's go back to the tower.
All right, thank you, Jackie. And the situation is that the start of the race being delayed just a moment here. They're having trouble with the electronic scoreboard that keeps the fans informed of who's running where. So while we have this momentary delay, before we give you the starting lineups, we'll take this break and be right back to Bristol, Tennessee.
Hey, Harry Gant, what's it like driving the Skull Bandit?
It ain't easy, even in practice.
What's it like using Skull Bandits?
That's real easy.
Skull Bandits is tobacco in a neat little pouch. You don't chew it. Just put one between your cheek and gum and enjoy the refreshing taste. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing.
It's that easy.
Try Skull Bandits, the little pouch of pleasure, in wintergreen or new mint.
Watch closely. You're about to learn how to prepare a very practical Ford Escort Turbo GT to accelerate like a very fast performance car. The new Ford Escort Turbo GT. Further modifications are not required. Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
Tomorrow, ESPN is your driving force. Join us for live coverage of NASCAR's Valleydale 500 and see who takes the checkered flag. Later, Oklahoma meets Oklahoma State in a live college baseball battle between two top 20 teams. It's a safe bet ESPN has the best in sports tomorrow.
Bob Jenkins, Larry Nuber, and Jack Arute back at Bristol, Tennessee, and the command has been given to start engines, and the pace car is just at this moment pulling away, and there goes the field. Let's give for you now the starting lineup for today's Budweiser 200 for late model sportsmen here at Bristol International Raceway. On the pole in car number 12 from Richmond, Virginia, the Freelander Pontiac, Tommy Ellis. Alongside from Chemung, New York, the Levi Garrett Pontiac, car number 5, Jeff Bodine. Row 2, car number 1 from Conover, North Carolina, the white racing Buick Morgan Shepherd. Outside of row number 2, Butch Miller in car 05 in the MSW Fredrickson Pontiac. In the third row from Henderson, North Carolina, car 36, Joe Kelly. Outside third row from Denver, North Carolina, Bill Parsons in car 28. In the fourth row, Brett Bodine in car number 15 and Jimmy Hensley in 00. In row number 5, Dale Jarrett driving car number 32 and Jack Ingram in number 11. In row number 6, car 7, Joe Ruttman, and number 6, Tommy Houston. In the 7th row, car 04, Eddie Falk, and number 10, L.V. Ottinger. The 8th row, Kenny Burks in car 07 and Darrell Waldrop in 17. In row number 9, car number 98 driven by Larry Pollard, and outside car 75 driven by Brad Teague. The 10th row, Larry Pearson in car number 21 and Charlie Luck in number 45. In the 11th row, Bosco Lowe, car number 27, and Glenn Jarrett in 24. The 12th row, Rick Mast in car 22 and Ronnie Thomas in 53. In the 13th row, Joe Thurman in car number 4 and Ronnie Silver in number 14. The 14th row, car 2, Jeff Hensley, and number 51, Robert Ingram Jr. And in the 15th row, Jimmy Lawson in car number 16, Ed Barrier in car number 60, and we have had one other car added to the starting lineup as a promoter's option. That will be car number 43, the Davis Racing Pontiac, the driver from Kernersville, North Carolina, Dickie Linville.
Well, I'll tell you, this division, a very exciting racing division. This is a tremendously exciting racetrack. You got excitement times excitement. This should be a good one.
200 laps around this track, which is just a little over a half-mile in length. There is Morgan Shepherd, the driver of car number 1, the 1980 late model sportsman champion.
Well, Morgan is part of one of the bold experiments. I won't even really call it an experiment. That's probably too harsh of a word. He's running a V6 powered race car. Also powered by a V6 engine is the car directly to his right, your left, the car number 08, which will be driven by Butch Miller out of Lawton, Michigan today. It will not be Orville Reedy. It's Butch Miller. Butch, of course, is a graduate. Well, I don't know if you call it a graduate. He's a transfer from the ASA ranks, but V6 power underneath the engine of both of those cars. Watch him close.
First pace lap has been completed. The field will begin to pick up speed now in just a little bit. As we get set to start this race, the light on the pace car is out, so they should get the green flag next time around. Another champion of this division, former champion of the division in the race, number 11, Jack Ingram.
And this is his kind of racetrack. His nickname is the Iron Man, and for very good reason. He's very good on tough racetracks, and this one is very demanding on the drivers. You are in hard corners much of the race. Laps are 15, 16, 17 seconds, and you really have to fight the race car to do well here.
And Tommy Houston in car number 6 will start this race.
Always a threat in a late model sportsman race. Houston's won some races. He's been around a long time. He's got a new sponsor, and he wants to do very well on national TV.
He starts outside of row number 6 in the 12th position. The pace car is in the pit area. The field being led down by Tommy Ellis. And the starter looks him over. The honorary starter, Richard Fulton, the mayor of Nashville, he gives him the green flag, and this Budweiser 200 is underway from Bristol International Raceway. We welcome you to our first live telecast for 1985 here in Bristol, and Tommy Ellis has the lead as they come off of turn number 4. Jeff Bodine is right behind Tommy Ellis. Running in the 3rd spot is Morgan Shepherd, and then the number 08, Butch Miller running in 4th spot. Charlie Luck in car number 45 pulled out of the pit area as the field was getting the green flag, so lapping is already going on. There is Luck in the yellow and green number 45 being lapped by the field in turn number 2.
Look at the V6s go. They're running in 3rd and 4th position right now. Morgan Shepherd and Butch Miller. And up front, Tommy Ellis in the blue and white number 12 and Jeff Bodine in number 5. Now Ellis in that blue and white 12.
Car smoking in turn number 4 will be coming into the pits. I thought the car was going to spin, but he managed to gather it in and hold on. That's Brad Teague from Johnson City, Tennessee, into the pit area early. The race goes on the track, though. Here is Tommy Ellis still leading the way, followed by Jeff Bodine, then Morgan Shepherd and Butch Miller. Now, Morgan Shepherd's car is a Buick V6, whereas Butch Miller's car is a Chevy V6.
Well, we started to comment that Ellis, he's a feisty little guy. He's built like a fullback. Remember Don Nottingham, who used to play for the Miami Dolphins? In some respects, Ellis is a little bit reminiscent of him, but he really likes this kind of racetrack. It's the kind he can get his teeth into. He'll be tough, but I'll tell you something. I think Bodine is running right now with a great deal of confidence, and as we speak, there goes Bodine testing the inside of Ellis. Bodine is running with a great deal of confidence. He knows he will not run every one of the races on this particular trail this year, and he wants to do well when he's present. So watch the orange and white make that yellow and white number 5. I guess if I were backed into a corner, which I'm not, I think it kind of leans toward him as the winner today, Bob. Let's see how it goes.
Well, the banks didn't used to be this high. They used to be at 22 degrees, but the owner of the track decided that he wanted to make them higher for the cars quick fast in the turns. And he has done that job very well because there are 2 and sometimes 3 lanes for passing in the tight corners here at Bristol. The lead continues to be held by Tommy Ellis, with Jeff Bodine running 2nd, then Morgan Shepherd, followed by Butch Miller running in the 5th position as they come around. Well, check it out.
Bill Parsons in 28, Bob.
It is indeed Bill Parsons, followed by Joe Kelly in 36, and then down car number 15, driven by Brett Bodine.
Well, Brad Teague, who was in the pits momentarily, we understand he had an oil line problem. That's the reason for his stop. And that's a big disappointment for him because that's basically a hometown team. He wanted to do well here.
In 10th and 11th position, a couple of veterans out there. The number 6 of Tommy Houston, followed closely by Jack Ingram in car number 11.
Well, Brad Teague came in momentarily. We told you had an oil line problem, and Jack Root was there, and he's got this report on Brad's problem. Jack?
So Brad will apparently be coming in for another stop. Meanwhile, Charlie Luck is also pulled into the pit area as we continue to watch this battle for the lead, and we have a new leader as Jeff Bodine has passed Tommy Ellis and has now gone into the lead. We've completed 12 of the 200 laps. And now Morgan Shepherd looks to the inside of Tommy Ellis in the third turn, trying the opportunity to get into second position, but for the moment, Tommy Ellis holds him off. There's the leader, Jeff Bodine, formerly from Chemung, New York, now making his home in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, Pleasant Gardens, North Carolina, to be exact, the leader of our race.
Drivers will tell you, Bob, that this racetrack, there usually isn't too much strategy. Now, we got a little bit of a difference here because this is the first time they've ever gone 200 laps in this kind of car and this kind of track. But for the most part, this is just flat-out racing. You go as hard as you can every lap that you can. So it's unlikely that anybody is holding anything back. Although I will tell you that Ingram and Houston we looked at, they are very much veterans in this type of racing.
Darrell Waltrip has moved up a couple of positions here in car number 17. He started 16th and is now running in 14th spot. Darrell Waltrip from Franklin, Tennessee, in the Budweiser Colonial Bred Chevrolet. There is Brad Teague in the pit area for his second stop. Here's Jack Arute.
And the problem continues to be an oil line problem, and also the front bumper is pulled off of the car. They're trying to make the repairs, and where the damage has been done, Bob, is down in the oil cooler. They're going to have to work and try and pull some of that oil off. A disappointing afternoon for Brad Teague. Second time in the pits, and he's literally out of contention for the race.
All right, and 18 laps have been completed with Jeff Bodine showing the way, slapping some of the slower traffic, putting a lap there on the number 43 of Dickie Linville. That's the car that was added as the promoter's option just a few minutes before the start of the race. But the first three cars are sticking right together on the racetrack and making it a good battle. Back in fourth spot, that position still being held by Butch Miller in car number 08, and the yellow flag has been displayed over the racetrack. As we take a look out over the half mile, we see no car that has spun, perhaps a piece of debris on the racetrack.
Well, Bob, Eddie Falk in car number 04 was involved. There he is. We've got a quick shot of Eddie. He was involved in a fender bender somewhere in the racetrack, and I believe we have some debris as a result of Eddie Falk's incident.
So that's the situation with 19 laps now completed. Make that 20 laps out of 200. And as the yellow flag is displayed over the racetrack, we'll take this break and be back with more of the Budweiser 200 from Bristol, Tennessee. Stay with us.
Listen to what people are saying about Chaslin's Hair Gallery in Strongsville.
I'm very confident I'll get the look I want. I've been coming here for 7, almost 8 years.
A lot of my friends have changed to Chaslin since I've been coming here because of the great haircuts I've been coming out of here with.
See the difference for yourself. Call Lynn or Charles at Chaslin's Hair Gallery, Rainey Plaza in Strongsville, 238-8440.
I keep coming back because I like the results.
Compare any club with the new Scandinavian Health and Racket in Broadview or Westlake, and you'll see why they just can't stack up to the luxury and the wide variety of equipment and activities offered here. Charter discounts will end in a few more weeks, so call or come in today and save 49% on your membership. When we open this spring, Charter discount offers will end. Save 49% now on Cleveland's Ultimate Fitness Clubs, and you'll see why Scandinavian is where America comes.
Hello, everybody. This is David Sullivan. Back to live coverage of the auto race in just a moment. First, this exclusive report from Lexington, Kentucky, concerning the coaching job at the University of Kentucky. Let's go now to Lexington and Bob Lee and Dick Vitale.
ESPN has learned that Lute Olson will be named the new head basketball coach this weekend at the University of Kentucky. Olson, for the past 2 years, the head coach at the University of Arizona. He and his attorneys are hammering out the final details of his Kentucky contract, a contract that will pay him in excess of $500,000 a year, a base salary approaching 6 figures per year, a television deal in the 6-figure range, a basketball camp deal, and other ancillary income that should pay Lute Olson, the new Kentucky head coach, $500,000 per year or more. Now, there have been a lot of reports over this weekend, Dick Vitale, about candidates in the running. Gene Bartow took his name out of the running on Friday evening, but apparently from all reports after several interviews, Olson is Kentucky's man.
We keep hearing from everyone, Bob, that it's over, that Lute Olson will be the coach, and I really believe it's going to happen by Monday. He's had outstanding success wherever he's been, Long Beach State, Iowa, and certainly now at Arizona, he's building a solid base. Olson really represents the kind of personality that fits in the Kentucky mold. I think he's an absolute surf and turf choice. This guy can flat out coach. He has great recruiting tools, and he knows how to deal with people. He's a communicator. I think it's done, Bob. I think our sources are accurate.
Well, there may be some reports, though, that Arizona has a great deal of interest in trying to put together a counteroffer, even though that may be too late.
We hear reports that Arizona naturally would like to keep him, but I really believe that he's going to move on and that he will take the job here at Kentucky. I know right now that there are strong reports that he's trying to keep Leonard Hamilton on the staff as an assistant who served Joe B. Hall so well for 11 years.
Once again, ESPN has learned Lute Olson, the current Arizona head coach, will be named the new head basketball coach this weekend at the University of Kentucky. At the Final Four in Lexington, Kentucky with Dick Vitale, I'm Bob Lee.
Thank you, gentlemen. It looks like Lute Olson headed to Kentucky. Now let's go back for more of the auto racing as we switch you back live now to Bristol, Tennessee. More on the Lute Olson story later.
Right here tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, live coverage of the Valleydale 500 Grand National Race from Bristol, Tennessee. Several of the drivers competing here today will be in that race also. How high are the banks here at Bristol International Raceway? Well, here's Larry Newber.
We have visited many high bank paved racetracks. It all began back in 1979 at the Winchester Speedway in Winchester, Indiana. Banked, depending upon who you ask, 33, 34, 35 degrees. Used to be a high banked racetrack in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And in the beginning, believe it or not, the Nashville Speedway had banks just about that high. Now, in support of our broadcast, we've had many dramatic demonstrations as to the drama associated with just standing on a high bank paved racetrack. There was the time in Talladega, Alabama, when I was suspended in a bucket about 3 or maybe 4 stories above the first and second corners. And another time in Winchester, I was tethered on the end of the rope and tried laboriously to walk up the banking. But here today, we have perhaps the most dramatic of those demonstrations as to what it's like being on a high bank paved racetrack. This is the Bristol Raceway, and the banks here are 35 degrees. The drivers will tell you that the G-forces are just tremendous. And even staying on the banks, just staying on the banks is difficult unless you're at speed. Now, to prove this, I have a couple of my able-bodied assistants here, Bob Jenkins and Jack Arute. And watch how easy this thing takes off down the banking.
And now another look at as the Volkswagen turns. How are you going to get back to Indianapolis, Larry? That was your passenger.
I know. I told them not to use our car, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. We have another yellow flag. And by the way, Joe Ruttman apparently lost a tire right here on the front stretch as the yellow flag went out. It might be a great break for Ruttman. Now, the rules will allow you to change one tire underneath the yellow flag. The yellow came out before Joe lost his tire, but boy, it disintegrated here right on the front stretch. Let's watch this crew as he comes around now. They got an opportunity to stay on the lead lap.
Bit of debris on the racetrack also from this incident as Ruttman pulls into the pit area. The green had just gone on from the yellow flag that involved Joe Thurman in car number 04, or Eddie Falk, I should say. So the Joe Ruttman crew goes to work on that car. Change rubber on the left front.
This is the Ed Whitaker car and crew. This car is I guess you'd call them a hometown favorite. They've done very well many times here at this racetrack. And they've had a lot of drivers in the car the past 2 or 3 years, and they're very happy to land Joe Ruttman. He comes with sponsorship, so the team is solidified for the first time in a long time, and they're very optimistic about this season. Ruttman, of course, has never won a race down here in the Southeast, and he's anxious and ready to win.
There is Brett Bodine in car number 15, who is brother of Jeff Bodine, who's the leader of this race.
Bob Brett is having a good race. He really is. He qualified 7th fastest. Now, this is his debut in this division. He's been running modified back home in the Northeast, and he came here with a little bit of fanfare. A lot of people were watching for him. They anticipated him to do great things, and I'll tell you, he's had a very successful weekend up to this point.
Interesting situation on pit road. The pole sitter, Tommy Ellis, is into the pits for some work, as is the number 32 car of Dale Jarrett, and some of the other drivers also taking advantage of this yellow light situation to come in for a pit stop. Joe Ruttman is back in. They're continuing to look at that car as Tommy Ellis now begins to pull away and goes back into competition.
Now we're likely to see some very interesting racing because Ellis was running in 2nd place, obviously running just as fast as anybody on the racetrack, and now he'll be attempting to work his way through the field.
32 laps completed, and Jeff Bodine is the leader. While we're yellow, we'll break away for these messages and be back in just a moment.
To fully understand how Goodyear Eagle high-performance tires alter the driving experience, we urge you to read the Special Operator's Manual before you drive. The information it contains may contribute significantly to the performance of the properly equipped car. Goodyear Eagles. The tires engineered for cars with the proper qualifications.
Kendall Motor Oil protects engines from friction. To prove how well, we plated ordinary piston rings with pure gold and ran them inside this engine for 5,000 miles. Kendall friction fighters are better than car makers demand. But can Kendall protect even soft gold? Look, no visible wear. That's protection. Friction-fighting Kendall Motor Oil for protection worth its weight in gold.
This buzz for the crew, restoring America's pride in liberty.
This buzz for you. You know America takes pride in what you do.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do, this buzz for you.
If you expect an engine to start quick, work hard, and last long, remember, the easiest job a Briggs & Stratton engine will ever do is mow your lawn. Ask for Briggs & Stratton, the power in power equipment.
Tonight, see the battle for the Division I Hockey Championship live. Find out who reaches their goal tonight only on your Total Sports Network.
Larry and I invite you to watch Speed Week every Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Time. A recap of all the week's racing activity. Of course, we'll have the highlights of this race and tomorrow's Valleydale 500. Thursday night at 7:30 on ESPN's Speed Week. We are back to racing, and Jeff Bodine is the leader, followed very closely by Morgan Shepherd. And then there is about a straightaway between the 2nd place car and the 3rd place car, which is now driven by Phil Parsons. Jack Ingram is running in 4th. And Butch Miller in 5th spot. Darrell Waltrip has moved up nicely into 6th spot from his 16th starting position.
Just when they dropped the green flag after the last caution flag segment, Bob, there was almost an altercation between turns 1 and 2. The car was slowing on the inside of the racetrack, and the people behind him scrambled to get out of the way. There's L.D. Ottinger, veteran race driver and a veteran and a many-time winner here at this racetrack, getting a little bit out of shape. Ed Barrier in that number 60 going out of the picture. Almost got involved, but both of them gathered it back up and took off. No harm, no foul, I guess.
Nice job of driving by L.D. Ottinger to save that car. There is Jimmy Hensley in car number 00, passing on the outside Butch Miller. So perhaps that V6 of Butch Miller isn't performing to his liking. He has lost a position here.
Yeah, he's lost a couple positions, as a matter of fact. Oh, trouble in turn number 1 and 2. It's Morgan Shepherd, who was running in 2nd place. I heard a tire go.
Another car spins. That's
Brett Bodine. I heard a tire go, I believe, on Shepherd's car. He was the only driver on the racetrack competitive with Jeff Bodine, and he collided with the outside wall very hard. There was a flash of fire. I think a fuel line may have burst. It went out, and Morgan is still sitting in the car rather quietly. He hit the wall very hard. He was running quite fast, running in second position again behind Jeff Bodine.
And then Brent Bodine was the next car and apparently got into some moisture and got on the brakes hard and spun, but he did not hit anything. Brett, incidentally, had just come in for a pit stop, and it was making his second lap on the track after that pit stop. Here's a replay of what happened.
You can see the smoke. It definitely looks like a tire going out on Morgan Shepherd. Apparently a fuel line being burst. Debris from the tire flying up to the undercarriage of the car, breaking the fuel line. Fuel is now being splashed onto the racetrack. There is some fluid, although evaporating very rapidly because it's a hot day. Morgan hits the outside wall. Here comes Brett out of the picture, which you cannot see. He obviously got a little bit into that fluid, went into a half spin. Morgan coast down to the bottom of the 35-degree banking. There he is, waving to the crowd. Good to see Morgan Shepherd, a guy who really tries hard, and the combination just hasn't come completely together for him in the last couple of years. At one time, he was a star on the Grand National Circuit, struggling to get back into that. He's won some races in LMS in recent years, but tough break for Morgan here today.
Well, until yesterday, Morgan was the track record holder in late model sportsman competition here at Bristol Raceway. And he also won the most recent late model sportsman race that was held here on this racetrack last fall. But Morgan Shepherd's day is over, as a collision with the outside guardrail has put him out of the race. But as you can see, Morgan is okay. It'll be a few minutes, though, before we can get that car off the racetrack and back to a green flag situation.
Bob, that was one of only two cars also powered by a V6 here this week. That happened to be a V6 Buick that Morgan Shepherd was piloting. The other V6, Butch Miller, the ASA convert.
Here are the point standings as we head into this fourth race of 26 in the late model sportsman series this year. Jimmy Hensley, the leader, with 472 points. Dale Jarrett is second. L.D. Ottinger third. Jack Ingram fourth. And Tommy Houston is fifth in the point standings.
These point standings are always very interesting. And look at Ronnie Thomas in number 53. I think he left the house just a little too early. You know, they used to punish me for not taking my wallet, but he took too much.
And Jack Arute is in the pit area with Morgan Shepherd.
Actually, we're down here in turn 3 where the car came to rest with Morgan Shepherd's. First, Morgan, you're okay.
Well, I don't know what happened. It's hard to hear you right now with all the traffic, but this morning we had trouble with a valve spring, broke a valve spring, and undoubtedly broke another valve, and it caused the engine to blow.
Morgan, it looks like maybe the track is greasing up a lot sooner than everybody expected. A lot of problems early on in the race. Is that how you saw it?
Yeah, well, we were set up for it. This little Buick was really starting to work. I was set up for a slick track, and as the race went on there, my car was really starting to work, and you know, I believe by 75 laps that we'd been the car beat, but that's the way it goes.
That is indeed the way it goes. A tough break for Morgan Shepherd. He's out for the afternoon.
And the work continues back there in turn 3 to get that car off of the pit apron. So we are still under yellow with Jeff Bodine as the leader, and now Jack Ingram is running in second position. And ESPN and NASCAR now present for you a track fact.
If you watch a lot of sportsman races, you see a lot of this. This is the grill work from a 1979 Pontiac Grand Am. Now, nobody knows exactly the reasons why these are so prevalent. You see a lot of them, but there are some potentially good reasons. It's lighter in weight, it's fiberglass, not metal or aluminum. It's streamlined, and, well, it looks nice. But for the most part, it's just a matter of emulating other people, a matter of keeping up with the Joneses or the Ingrams or the Ards. The way to go, I guess, is Pontiac.
Track facts are being brought to you by Levi Garrett Chewing Tobacco. Time after time, the quality comes through. We'll be back with more of the Budweiser 200 from Bristol International Raceway. Right after these messages, Jeff Bodine is the leader.
Just hear the stock cars rolling down that high bank track. Better keep your eye on number 5, cause he ain't looking back. That's Levi Garrett.
Jeff Bodine.
Coming through.
And Harry Hyde.
Face that flavor coming through for you. Time after time, the quality comes through. That's why Levi Garrett is the brand I'm proud to choose. Levi Garrett.
When you've got your body going, we've got the shoes. Foot Locker, get it right for your body. All the shoes that fit your body, come through the stripes. Foot Locker, get it right for your body. Get fit by the pros, the expert who knows the shoes that are best
For people who are serious.
Get it right for your body. Come to the stripes. Foot Locker, come to the stripes.
Hello, I'm Jackie Stewart. Join John Bizignano and me on Sunday, 7th April at 11 a.m. Eastern Time for the Brazilian Grand Prix Live. We'll be in Rio de Janeiro to bring you the first of our live coverage of the 1985 Grand Prix season on ESPN.
Boy, what an assignment, huh? Rio de Janeiro next weekend, next Sunday, on Easter Sunday, a great place to visit and watch a race from.
Bob, that is really a special kind of racing. It's very dashing in an international sense. They are colorful drivers. They have an awful lot on the line. It's a very dangerous type of racing, and it gets pretty good response, I think, on television, as I'm told.
That'll be at 11 o'clock next Sunday morning. Well, the yellow is still out, and debris is still being cleaned up and moisture taken out of turn number 2. Here's what happened. Morgan Shepherd loses a tire and spins into the wall.
Well, Morgan thinks it was the motor, and I'm going to go with him, okay? I'll accept his opinion. And the explosion, I guess, that I heard, because it was so similar to the one we heard a few laps earlier with Joe Ruttman, it sounded exactly the same. So I guess the explosion was a tire bursting when Morgan Shepherd went into the wall. But what surprised me was that only Brett Bodine was in the oil. Everybody else drove straight through, so it didn't look like there was an oily racetrack. That's why I didn't think, at least initially, it was a motor.
All right, let's go to Jackie Arute in the pit area.
Some days it just doesn't pay to get up out of bed, and Freddie Falk, the car owner of Eddie Falk's car, number 04, could be saying just that. We saw him be pulled onto pit road because they had the problem, the altercation, had to do some work there, and now we've seen Brad Smith, one of his crewmen, one of his few crewmen, go off to the hospital injured. Freddie, you came here with a weak crew to begin with. You only had 4 people.
Yeah, a lot of our guys have to work on Saturday and couldn't get off to come with us.
And now you're down to 3. What are you going to do for the rest of the race?
Well, Joe Thurman's fell out of the race over here, so I borrowed some people from him.
Well, that's the way they do it in the racing fraternity. When one goes out, they just chip in to help the other guy.
And that crew member is in the ambulance and is going to be taken outside of the racetrack to a hospital to be checked over. And so we're still in a hold situation here.
Bob, that is one of the really pleasurable anecdotes of this type of racing, is that the crews do share. They're even sharing people down there. Car number 4 is helping out car number 04, but this is a fraternity. I mean, when they get on the racetrack, there are no holds barred. Believe me, no holds are barred. But once off the racetrack, it's a very cooperative effort between everybody, and the next guy wants to see Guy A do just as well as he does, and that's one of the real nice aspects of this type of racing. Late model sportsman racing, NASCAR style.
51 laps completed. Here's the rundown. The leader is Jeff Bodine. Running in second spot is Jack Ingram. Third place is Tommy Houston. In fourth is Jimmy Hensley. And in fifth spot is Larry Pearson in car number 21.
Well, Bob, the interesting thing here is Ingram running in second position now and Houston running in third. You know, they haven't been up to the front showing their peacock speed feathers. They haven't been real obvious in this race. And I tell you, these two guys are very experienced in this kind of racing, and one of the tricks of the trade here is to make that car be consistently fast all day long. Tires often are a big story in this type of racing, and Ingram and Houston are two of the real professionals at knowing how to win a late model sportsman race. We told you earlier that for the most part this is flat out racing, put to the floor all the way, but there is some strategy, and in a 200 lap race on this type of racetrack, I gotta tell you, Ingram and Houston would be two of the very best.
Now the signal has been given that we'll go green next time around. Pace car's light is off, and Jeff Bodine is right behind the pace car in front of Jack Ingram in car number 11, and there is Larry Pearson in car number 21.
Well, he won a race last year. This, of course, is one of David's sons. He began this race in 19th position in the Chattanooga Chew Pontiac. He qualified at 112.5 miles an hour, and he's been steady, he's been consistent, and suddenly, after all these yellow flags and Morgan Shepherd's wreck, he finds himself in 5th position. He's a threat.
Pace car pulls into the pit area as the field comes around turn number 4, and the pace is picked up as Bodine steps on the accelerator, and the race resumes now on lap number 53. And as before the yellow came out, Jeff Bodine and Morgan Shepherd were pretty much pulling away from the field, and now Bodine does it once again. Jack Ingram is not letting Bodine get too far ahead. Tommy Houston tucked in 3rd spot and Jimmy Hensley in 4th. Then we have quite a bit of racetrack before we get back to the 5th place car. That is Larry Pearson.
I think it's too early to really race in terms of a challenge, Bob, so I would expect Ingram and Houston to not really show us too much more than what they're showing right now. That's not to say that I believe that they are not giving all they have, but if they have anything left, I wouldn't expect Jeff to get up there and challenge Jeff just yet. We've got 200 laps in this race, and we are still well short of the 100-lap mark. Interesting story are some of the cars in the back of the pack, just to let you know that Joe Ruttman is running competitively, so is Darrell Waltrip, and so is Tommy Ellis. They're trying to work their way up. They're really not in a challenging headline position yet, but let's watch and see if they resurface again later on in this race.
Jeff Bodine, by the way, has won a race already here in 1985 in the late model sportsman competition. There have only been 3 races, and Jeff was the winner at Daytona, the first race of the year. Dale Earnhardt has also won in this division, and Jimmy Hensley has also visited Victory Lane. There is Robert Ingram Jr. in car number 51, and Tommy Ellis in number 12, who's trying to get back up front.
Well, if you don't think this is a contact sport, keep your eye on Tommy. He is fighting the ground, I'll tell you, and he's ready to get around Robert Ingram Jr. Tommy will be on the outside there in the red numeral, blue and white number 12, and watch for him to get around Robert. This time by down the front stretch. Remember, just 15, 16 seconds a lap. I'm a little quick on that. 16 or 17 seconds a lap. And here comes Tommy Ellis. The Tommy Ellis freight train is moving up.
And that car right behind Tommy Ellis is Rick Mast, car number 22. Rick from a very interesting little city in Virginia, Rockbridge, Baths. And there's the number 43 car of Dickie Linville pulling to the pit apron and headed for pit road.
And he hit the wall here in the front stretch, I believe, Bob. He grazed it, but the interesting thing was it happened right in front of Jeff Bodine and Jack Ingram. Jeff went way down to the inside of the track, Jack to the extreme outside, and both of them got through even without so much as a slide.
Here is Jack Arute, who observed what happened down there on the front stretch.
Well, it was a very close call for Jeff Bodine, because as they came up out of the hole in turn number 4, the 43 car just walloped the outside retaining wall. He tried to keep it up against the wall. Bodine wasn't quite sure where to go because the car kept weaving back down to the inside. Bodine got on the binders real hard, and by the time they hit the start-finish line, he chose the inside, and that seemed to be the quick way.
Well, the second of the V6s is in the pit area. Butch Miller visits the pit road as we continue to watch the activity on the track. There it is, the second V6 car in the race. Morgan Shepherd is already out, and now Butch Miller is in for a pit stop, but it's a rather quick stop, and he's back out there.
Well, V6 Power has won races already in 1985. In the All-Pro circuit, Butch Lindley and Neil Bonnet have won main events with V6 Power. Those happen to be Neil Bonnet French cars, by the way. So this was a little more than an experiment. They do have some track history behind them.
And Phil Parsons has also come in with, it looks like, an overheating problem or a blown engine. So Phil Parsons is out of the contest. Other cars that have dropped by the wayside include Dale Jarrett, Kenny Burks, Charlie Luck, and Joe Thurman. All of those drivers out of the competition, in addition, of course, to Morgan Shepherd, who had the encounter with the retaining wall in turn number 2. Jeff Bodine, the leader. Right behind him is Jack Ingram in car number 11. So it's basically a 2-car race here, as the third-place driver, Tommy Houston, is about now a half a straightaway behind Jack Ingram.
And we're also very sad to report to all of our fans, or at least all of his fans, down in the Hendersonville, North Carolina area, Joe Kelly, who runs a red number 36, is also slowed and pulled to the inside of the racetrack. We mentioned Joe because he's not normally one of the top names in this type of racing, but he was the 5th fastest qualifier here this week. He was running competitively. He's been on ESPN a couple times now and done well, but Joe's day has ended early.
Well, this was supposed to have been the 5th race of the series. However, last weekend's late model sportsman race at Martinsville, Virginia was rained out and rescheduled for next Saturday as we take a look at Jack Ingram. And Joe Kelly was very impressive in a qualifying race that was held last Saturday, but he is out of the race this afternoon here at Bristol. There are your first two cars. Jeff Bodine, car number 5, the Levi Garrett Pontiac, and right behind him is the Freelander Pontiac driven by Jack Ingram from Asheville, North Carolina.
There is Jeff Bodine continuing to lead this race, going into one of the high bank corners, and I tell you, that is a trick in itself, just getting used to being on 35-degree banking most of the day on this racetrack.
One of the drivers doing double duty here this weekend, late model sportsman today, Grand National tomorrow, Bill Parsons. He's with Jack Arute in the pit area.
Bill, a few less laps than you had hoped for this weekend. You're out early in the Budweiser 200. What happened?
I think something happened to the engine, Jackie. I don't know, I'm sure whether it dropped the valve or cracked the piston, but when the race started, our Enterprise Chevrolet Skull Van was a little bit loose, but we came in and Richard and Andy made some adjustments. I believe we'd have been in pretty good shape, but it wasn't to be today.
What about tomorrow? You looking forward to that run tomorrow? Did you learn anything today that you can use tomorrow?
Well, the track is quite a bit looser than when I was practicing the Grand National car earlier on, so I would say we'll go over there and start tightening the Grand National car up now, too.
You had a chance to test some of the competition. Who do you think's got the edge right now out there?
I would have to say Bodine. He looks pretty strong to me.
Well, we see we've got a caution, and there could be some more action. Let's go to Bob and Larry.
And the reason for the caution, Jackie, is a motor problem with Glenn Jarrett, car number 24. Smoke pouring from that car, and the yellow comes out. And just before he had a motor problem, out on the backstretch, Larry Pollard pulled in with smoke pouring from that race car.
Well, Bob, one of the reasons for the setup, let's call it a problem or a setup phenomenon, how it's changed here. We've had basically overcast skies for the past couple of practice days here at Bristol. Today, bright sunshine. Also, there's sealer on this racetrack, not a new pavement, but new sealer, and it's much more slippery. We can actually see it from our announce position than it's been the last 2 days. It even begins to deteriorate just a touch as this race goes on. Our leader is coming into the pits.
Jeff Bodine in, and now Jack Ingram will inherit the lead as pit stops are being made by several of the cars. Jimmy Hensley is also in, Tommy Ellis, Joe Ruttman, L.D. Ottinger is in, as is Larry Pearson in car number 21. We'll watch Jeff Bodine here as the crew works on the right side of that car. The windshield is wiped off, but now Jeff is going to have to fall in at the rear of the field and will have to make his way back up through the field to regain that top spot.
Well, everybody had to stop at least once, so this is basically a routine pit stop. You see a lot of the top contenders in the pits right now, so depending on how things go, this might be the only time all these guys are in the pits. And Bodine, has a relatively close call in the pit area. He gets beat by Larry Pearson leaving the pits. Tommy Ellis is out in front of Bodine. This could be a very interesting race when we come back.
And an interesting Jackman down there. I think Jack Arute is with this famous race driver.
Well, no, he's not really a famous race driver today. He's just a plain old Jackman on the pit crew. We're going to have to let him go. He's got to go back to work again. It's David Pearson, a Winston Cup Grand National champion in his own right, runs on the Winston Cup Tour for a limited number of races. His son Larry brings in the Chattanooga Chew number 21, and they're going to change the left side tires. They changed the right side before. You get a good look at how older David Pearson works the jack. He looks a little bit like Junior Johnson, doesn't he, Larry?
Hey, Jack, now we know why Larry got out so soon the first time.
That's right. He moves it real quick. We had a chance to look at Larry, too, and he let us know that the car's real loose. He was signaling it to us before, so they're trying to make some adjustments with tire stagger. Let's see if we can get David now and get a few comments here. Lift that jack up there, David. Just come right over here and look in the camera there. What's it like to be lifting a jack instead of going through the gearbox out there?
Well, not too bad. I didn't know I was so good on a jack.
Well, somebody said you look like Junior Johnson a little bit.
Well, I ain't quite as fat as he is.
Seriously, though, how's the car working?
No, working real good. You know, he come up to fifth and stayed a little bit loose, so that first time we put some wedge in it, so he should be in good shape now.
Well, hopefully you'll be in good shape by the end of the afternoon as well. Let's go back to Larry.
There are only about 2 people get away with saying that about Junior, David and probably Darrell Waltrip.
And Jeff Bodine comes in for a second pit stop. We are under yellow at Bristol in the Budweiser 200. We hope you'll rejoin us when our action continues. Jack Ingram leads. Tommy Houston is second.
Release your inner beauty at Country Squire Beauty Parlor. Guys and gals, siblings to seniors. Feel and look your best with Country Squire's friendly professionals. For cuts, perms, coloring, manicures, and more, you need a full-service salon. Now take advantage of our private tanning suite. Bronze your skin with guaranteed results the Wolf way for a healthy complexion that will make you look sensational. Call first or just stop in at the Country Squire Beauty Parlor, Smith Road between Pearl and the Parkway, Middleburg Heights. Call 888-4734.
Summer is almost here, so come on down to Lake Erie Boat Sales. We're celebrating our 20th anniversary with the grand opening of our Middleburg Heights store. Whatever your boating needs are, cruising, water skiing, or fishing, Lake Erie Boat Sales has the boat for you at the right price. A large selection of boats are in stock now and ready to start making waves when you are. And we have the accessories you'll need to go with the boat of your dreams. Come see the nice guys at our giant new location in Middleburg Heights or our beautiful East Side location in Willowick. Lake Erie Boat Sales, Ohio's largest new and used boat.
Back at Bristol International Raceway for the Budweiser 200 for late model sportsmen. The pace car is still out on the track, leading the field around slowly. We are yellow because of a couple of blown engines, namely that of Glenn Jarrett and of Larry Pollard. There is Jack Ingram, the leader of the race, in car number 11. And a little bit earlier, we had an opportunity to talk with Jack and asked him about the driving strategy this weekend.
This is not the normal run-of-the-mill short track. You got some super speedway turns here. Does it demand a different driving style than, let's say, a Martinsville or a North Wilkesboro?
Oh, yeah, this is probably get more sensational speed here than just about any racetrack you run on, including Daytona. Daytona's so long and stretched out, and the turns are so big and long. Here, they have eighth-mile turns, eighth-mile straightaways. It's fast. It's a fast running here at night. You can't even hardly figure out where you're at a lot of times. The daytime's not all that bad, but yeah, this is really unique. This is not an average run-of-the-mill half-mile racetrack, that's for sure.
And we'll get an opportunity to see these drivers and the Grand National drivers in competition at night here a little bit later in the year. Now, out of the race, Morgan Shepherd because of the accident. The others are for mechanical problems. And there you see the list of them, including Butch Miller in that V6 and Phil Parsons in car number 28. So the green comes out once again. We're back to racing with 80 laps completed. We have 120 more to go. Jack Ingram is the leader. Tommy Houston running in second position.
Well, a few of the guys did not choose to pit under that yellow flag. Now, the roll of dice, of course, is that there will be at least one more yellow flag coming at a time when the cars do need replenishment of perhaps new rubber, new fuel, whatever. Very seldom do these races run more than 100 laps under green without any yellow, so Ingram and Houston, who are running up front right now with their experience, they pretty much predict that there will be at least one more yellow flag. But if in the case there is not one more yellow flag, they will be working from an extreme deficit.
Ingram is fourth in the point standings as we watch L.D. Ottinger from Newport, Tennessee, move up in that Schlitz Pontiac. L.D. started from 14th position and is running well within the top 10 now. But the word is that he is being black flagged. It's difficult to tell whether or not a car is smoking or whether he is smoking the tires, because most of the cars that do go through the corners pretty quick smoke the tires. But this, we believe, is because of a oil problem, and he is being black flagged.
Well, there's the 10. The drivers are being signaled electronically that this black flag is for L.D. Ottinger. Disappointment for L.D. He's from Newport, Tennessee. That's about 75 miles down the interstate. Now, he hasn't won one of these races since 1977. The black flag's still going out for L.D. Now, this is not a matter of obstinance necessarily. It's very difficult to see in this racetrack. Things happen very quickly. You turn one whole lap in 16 or 17 seconds, so it's very possible that Ottinger just hasn't picked up on the black flag yet.
And look who has moved up from 16th starting position to third. That is Darrell Waltrip, number 17 in the Budweiser Colonial Red Special, running in third spot right now. And there's a fourth place, the number 22 of Rick Mast.
Boy, this must be Rick Mast's racetrack. He has finished 4th, 5th, and 4th in the last 3 races here. He always seems to do well at Bristol. Right now he trails that man, Darrell Waltrip. Darrell, as Bob mentioned, has moved up to third. He's been running very fast and very consistent all day long. That two-tone blue car, Rick Mast, and Waltrip is slowing.
Just as he came off of corner number 4, the engine seemed to go on him. He got off of the accelerator and is moving very slowly now down the backstretch. We'll see if he comes in for a pit stop, but something certainly went wrong with that car as he came off of turn number 4. He's staying out there and picking up the pace just a little bit, but still the car is not running up to snuff.
Well, that was a puzzlement. Waltrip pulling down to the inside of the racetrack, coming down the front stretch. Now he seems to be almost back up to par where he was at one time. He trailed Brent Bodine on the racetrack, and it's Tommy Ellis moving up to the outside of Darrell. Darrell obviously busy right now, checking all the gauges on the racetrack. He is not at 100% maximum performance.
He's fallen back to 6th position. Jeff Bodine has moved into 7th spot now. Remember, he came in for the pit stop during the most recent caution period, so Jeff Bodine is headed back up toward the front.
This will be interesting to see what develops with Darrell Waltrip. It's unlikely that was a strategic move, that he simply decided to slow the pace down that suddenly, because he has lost a couple of positions since he slowed down, but Waltrip does seem to be at least running at almost the same speed as the leaders.
And there is the acknowledgement of the black flag. L.D. Ottinger has come in. The crew raises the hood on the car to see if they can fix the problem. And if they can, of course, he'll get back out there, but he's losing valuable seconds and valuable laps in the pit area. L.D. Ottinger.
Now, here's the guy who has been the big winner here at the Bristol Raceway over the years. He's won 4 times in late model sportsman competition, but we told you earlier he's from not too far down the road here. Once upon a time, he retired back in 1983, but the lure of the sound of the racing engines and the smell of the gasoline fumes in his eyes just too great. And he's back again, ready for a full season. He had engine problems as late as this morning, Bob. They changed the complete engine in that race car before qualifying. There were 2 rounds of qualifying, one yesterday, one today. Ottinger through changing the engine, but apparently was not enough.
We have 12 cars on the lead lap. They're being led by that man and car combination, Jack Ingram. We have had 2 lane changes among 3 drivers and 4 caution periods. The most serious caution period as a result of an accident involving Morgan Shepherd out in turn number 2 when he hit the wall and the car had some flame, but Morgan okay.
There is Waltrip really slowing down now. That was not Jack Ingram. Waltrip slowing down. He pulled to the inside of the racetrack. Bodine went around on the outside, and whatever Darrell's problem is, it seems to wax and wane. He slows down, speeds back up. I'm not exactly sure what could be the problem. It's like, it can't be fuel line freeze-up, can it?
Not on a day like this. As a matter of fact, it's unseasonably warm here in northeastern Tennessee, and there is a threat of thunder showers tonight and tomorrow. But we urge you to be with us tomorrow for that Grand National race, the Valleydale 500. 500 laps on this half-mile track for the Grand National cars. There's Joe Ruttman, who has pulled into the pit area, and looks like he's unbuckling the helmet and climbing out of the car.
No, it's not the day again for Joe Ruttman. I'll tell you, Joe Ruttman probably has as much misfortune as anybody who resides, at least temporarily, in the Southeast. Joe was running a very competitive car again today. He had some problems earlier. Remember that tire exploded on him on the front stretch. He saved the car. They came back around, made a couple of pit stops. They were able to stay on the lead lap, but apparently something has gone amiss in the motor. Another bad day for Joe Ruttman.
This is our first live telecast of a late model sportsman race. However, we have presented several on tape on a delay basis, but perhaps we thought you would be interested in exactly what is a late model sportsman.
The untrained eye may see no difference between LMS cars and Grand National stock cars, but there are some very significant differences. It starts with the overall weight of these cars. These cars are restricted to 3,000 pounds, whereas the Grand National cars can weigh up to 3,700 pounds. Like the Grand National cars, there are a series of templates that these cars must conform to. They are controlling the body size and shape. Now, like Grand National cars, the rubber is the same, and up front in the engine compartment, these cars are restricted to 311 cubic inches. Grand National cars can go up to 358 cubic inches, and the horsepower, big difference there. These cars turn out about 395 horsepower, whereas the Grand National cars, well over 600. The carburetor is restricted to 390 CFI on these cars. That's an effort to keep the cost as well as the speeds down. And there's one other very significant difference. These cars can be no earlier than 1980 models, where, of course, the Grand National cars, 1985. Now, equating all of this to baseball, NASCAR considers this to be its AAA level of racing. Next stop, the Major League.
Down here in the pits with Joe Ruttman, who's retired from the race. Joe, what was the problem?
Well, the engine got about 260 degrees, and the engine's worth way too much money to hurt it. And it might have blown a head gasket. The motor was running well, but you just cannot continue running with the water temperature that high. So it's best to bring her in and maybe race her again another day.
The outside temperature here is a little hotter and more humid than most people had expected. When you go to your Folgers car for tomorrow, will you now make some adjustments?
Well, I know a little bit more about the track, so that should help me. And there's no question that the Folgers Grand National cars run extremely well, and we hope to run all day long tomorrow.
Well, this little car didn't percolate today, but they hope that it won't drip tomorrow.
And, Joe, one of several cars that have dropped out of the race here, but Jack Ingram is still out there in competition and still in the lead, as a matter of fact. That's L.D. Ottinger trailing him. Remember, L.D. was black flag, and he did come in for some consultation, but is back out there. The car continues to have smoke pouring from it, however. Second place is Tommy Houston, and there is Jimmy Hensley in car 00. He has blown an engine, and the yellow comes out. He was running in 9th spot.
Well, the Ridgeway Virginia native not only was running in 9th spot here today, but he came in as the points leader. That might change. Jimmy is a guy who would hope to do well here. He won many times in the area. He was a many-time winner at the Kingsport and Lonesome Pine Speedways back in the 70s here in the area. And Jimmy certainly wanted to perform well. You can see there's a little bit of oil on that car. He tries to bring it to a stop in the pits, and it's not easy.
All right, this is our 5th caution period of the afternoon. We have completed 110 laps, 90 more to go in the Budweiser 200. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Monaco Grand Prix circuit is simply the toughest.
Jackie Stewart, 4-time winner at Monaco, returns to test a Thunderbird Turbo Coupe.
Monaco demands a car that's got a very well-balanced suspension and at the same time is aerodynamically good. This balance between the suspension and the car's aerodynamics makes a big difference in how a car drives. Ford understands this.
Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
A Lee close-up. There's a menace in your motor oil. Dirt you can't see. Micro grit. Today's engines are smaller, harder working. Micro grit is leaving its mark. Scratching, grinding away. The unique Lee 2-stage traps the dirt you can't see. It's designed for today's smaller, harder working engines. For clean oil. Lee 2-stage maxi filter. It traps micro grit.
Look what's in store for you at the Great Spring Hardware Sale. From Black & Decker, a $10 rebate on this professional palm grip finishing sander or this 3/8-inch Hogan professional variable speed drill. No more climbing ladders to clean gutters. Let a Genova Rango self-cleaning vinyl gutter system with patented ridges do the job for you. Buy any Schlage keyed lock and get a Night Eye absolutely free. The Night Eye prevents crime by automatically turning lights on or off. What's at your home center hardware store? Values, specials, and plenty more. The Great Spring Hardware Sale now.
This Bud's to everyone who tackles the changes and challenges of that new promotion.
This Bud's for you. There's no one else who does it quite the way you do. That goes here to you. For all you do.
Yep, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do. This Bud's for you.
Tonight, 2 of the USFL's top quarterbacks meet on ESPN. Doug Williams leads Arizona against Doug Flutie and the Generals, live tonight.
A reminder that tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll have live coverage of the Valleydale 500 from here at Bristol International Raceway for Grand National cars. The green flag has fallen once again on the Budweiser 200 for late model sportsmen. And Larry Pearson is the car that is leading the field down off of turn number 4. However, he is a lap down. The leader of the race, the second car in line, that's Tommy Ellis in car 12. Jeff Bodine is running second, followed by Tommy Houston and then Jack Ingram.
And everybody has made that one stop that they need, so depending upon how caution flags interrupt the proceedings here, all the leaders will be up front. They will all be together. They will have completed their one stop. And we should go to racing here now in the next 40, 50 laps.
Bodine moves to the inside of Tommy Ellis and challenges him for the lead. Can't pull the pass off. The points leader in LMS at this point, Jimmy Hensley, is out of the race. Here's Jack Arute.
And he's watching watching all of the action down here in turn number 1, but Jimmy, this isn't where you want to be. What happened to the Thomas Brothers entry?
Jackie, the paddock ball, which is a bar, holds the rear end under the car broke, and it let the rear end just run back as it forwards, and we were lucky we didn't wreck.
Well, they're fixing the cars. It looks like you're going to go back out for some points.
Well, we're going to try to get it fixed, see if we can get back out. It's not designed to contention ball winning, but we think we'd finish the race anyway.
It's a lot like Winston Cup. When you're in the points chase, you've got to go back even when you're busted up.
Larry, I'll tell you, all of the late model sportsman races that we telecast last year have been excellent races, and this one is shaping up to be exactly that way also. Look at the battle up front. We've got 3 cars that are going for the lead. The battle right now for second spot, that's Tommy Houston outside, and that is Jeff Bodine inside. They're being led by Tommy Ellis. And here are the first 6 cars coming down, running either door handle to door handle or nose to tail.
I'll tell you, this is really shaping up to be a good race, Bob. It's happened rather quickly here. Everybody's got their work out of the way. And Bodine in car number 5 and in car number 6, Houston, they've already rubbed fenders a couple times in the last few laps. Now Houston suddenly seems to be out of the groove and slowing. He drops back behind Jack Ingram and Rick Mast. And Rick Mast in that two-tone blue car is doing an excellent job today. Mast has been on the same lap with the leaders all day long, and look where he's at now. He's very competitive. He's feeling racing.
And you know, he's had some encounters out there too, because you'll notice that the rear end of that car is dented rather extensively right in the middle. Now the car behind Rick Mast is Tommy Houston, and right behind Houston is Darrell Waltrip. Those 6 cars in the freight train, in the choo-choo, as they come off of turn number 4. No drafting here, at least of any significance, but they sure are running nose to tail and doing some banging out there for position.
Well, I'll tell you what's going on right now. Ellis is not running quite as quick as apparently Bodine and at least Ingram are able to go. And look at Rick Mast now trying the inside of Jack Ingram. There's Rick Mast temporarily with the advantage on the Iron Man.
Well,
that didn't last too long.
Well, they came off the turn, and he couldn't hold on to that spot. Whew. As a slower car gets in the way, that is the number 43 of Dickie Linville. They had to move high and move around him. Now some more traffic is being encountered up here in turn number 4. The number 04 of Eddie Falk, and that car is minus the front end.
Heavy traffic coming up. Let's see everybody plays it. Most of the traffic is running single file. Now Bodine, he's going to try and make a bold move down the inside of Ellis. No, it scared Ellis temporarily, but there wasn't any room there. Here comes Houston back up. He squeezes underneath Rick Mast. And Houston has gained a little bit of an advantage, at least on Mast, but up front, we're still going at it for the lead.
And the car that they just finished passing, the orange number 2, is Jeff Hensley, who is a cousin of Jimmy Hensley that we spoke to just a few minutes ago. Now the battle for second once again as Ingram looks outside coming off of turn number 4 as Jeff Bodine and the leader bump. Tommy Ellis and Bodine bump going into turn 1, and Bodine comes off corner 2 with the advantage. And now Ingram moves inside of Ellis, the battle for second. Oh, and Ellis is sideways and spinning, or almost spinning, in turn number 3. He loses several positions but stays in the throttle.
Well, that is late model sportsman racing. You saw Tommy Ellis try to close the door, slam the door shut on Jeff Bodine. Bodine in his touch. No harm, no foul on that particular case. Both of them seem to get through unscathed. He tried to do the same thing to Jack Ingram, and Ellis ends up spinning sideways on the outside of 3 and 4.
And what all that meant was that everybody behind the second-place car slowed down. Here's the replay.
Well, there you see Ellis trying to pinch down on Jack Ingram, and Jack Ingram had nothing of it. He just banged right into Tommy, and both of them do a pretty good job, particularly Ingram, as he just slides right through and doesn't even slow down.
So the first 2 cars now are running together, but then a little bit of racetrack back to the third-place Tommy Houston. Jeff Bodine and Jack Ingram are running still side by side off of turn 4. Ingram in the green car and Bodine in the yellow and white car. Jeff Bodine hangs on the lead as we've completed 130 laps. We've got 70 to go here at Bristol International Raceway in the Budweiser 200. 70 laps to go. As they move outside of a slower car, number 51, that is Robert Ingram from Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Well, Bob, at this point in the race, it becomes also a matter of not only skillful driving, but knowing your race car very well. It may or may not be wise to be punishing the race car at this point. In trouble on the front stretch.
The
Ingram
2 leaders
come together.
The 2 leaders get together on the straightaway, and Jack Ingram is down to the apron of the racetrack, facing the wrong direction. Jeff Bodine bumped into the outside wall, but manages to keep going.
And there's a miniature race going on in 3 and 4. Darrell Waltrip is trying to get back on the lead lap. He did not succeed in doing so. We obviously have some debris here on the front stretch. But Bodine, who was leading the race, was fighting with Jack Ingram, and neither one of them would give an inch, and they collided with the outside wall here on the front stretch.
Darrell Waltrip, we believe, is on the lead lap and is now going to be in second spot. Jack Ingram starts to pull away as we watch what happened down there in turn number 1.
Well, there it is on the front stretch. You can see Ingram trying to get to the outside of Jeff Bodine. They come together, they collide on the front stretch, and while we have been watching this replay, there was an altercation. Believe it or not, there is Jack Ingram in the infield in the pit area. He and Robert Ingram Jr. and car number 51 collided, racing for their pits at maybe 15 or 20 miles an hour. Ingram's car definitely looks permanent this time.
Yeah, I think that thing is going to be out of the race. That car and the number 51 of Robert Ingram are at the pit entrance off of turn number 2 as we take a look at another angle of the incident involving Jack Ingram and Jeff Bodine.
Well, from this angle, you at home can kind of make your call yourself. Does Ingram have enough room? Is he squeezing out Bodine? Did Bodine move out into Ingram? Here they come down the front stretch. Their two fenders touch. Jeff Bodine almost gets up on his left side, almost gets up in the air. There goes Ingram spinning down to the inside of the racetrack. Bodine trying to stay off of a significant collision with the outside wall. Just let you at home make your call yourself.
Well, Jeff Bodine has come into the pit area and is back out there. We'll watch that car very closely to see if it's as competitive as it was before this little bit of incident. So the yellow flag is out for the 6th time this afternoon. 135 laps have been completed. There is the wrecked car of Jack Ingram, car number 11, who is battling with Jeff Bodine for the lead when they came together in turn number 1. And Jeff Bodine is pulling that car behind the wall, so it looks like it could be all over also for Jeff Bodine. Well, we'll be back with more of this race. Right now, ESPN and STP present a pit stop.
I'm Larry Nuber, and this is another STP pit stop. You know, regular maintenance on your car at home can not only be safe, but also save you a lot of money. Now, Richard, there are a lot of things that you can do, whether or not you're a guy or a gal who owns your own car.
Well, there's a lot of different things you can do, you know, as far as checking your tires, checking the air in the tires, making sure they got good tread on them. You know, you go around and make sure that your oil's been checked. You know, say like every time you get gas, you don't really have to check it, but every once in a while you need to check the gas. Brake fluids need to be checked. You know, the water in the windshield wiper is very important. You never think about it till it rains, but every time you do, it's always empty. So this is something that's really, from a safety standpoint, needs to be done. You know, all the fluids in the car need to be checked from time to time. Keep a clean car. That means you take care of it. Every once in a while, you need to take it in for a tune-up because you get better gas mileage. It helps the smog control situation. Overall, if you take good care of your car, then in the long run, when you get ready to trade it or just as you take care of it, then it's going to pay off all the way around.
You know, there's one other little item a lot of people overlook. Actually washing the car is a part of important maintenance, isn't it?
Well, very much so. I think when a man washes his car or a lady washes the car, they have a little pride in it, and that means they're going to check some of this stuff that they don't normally check. Most time you run, jump in the car, you go to the service station or you go to the school or whatever, and you forget about it. But when you're washing your car, that means you took time to be proud of your car. You're taking care of it. Then you'll check those fluids and check the tires and make sure that, you know, everything's hanging where it's supposed to be.
Richard, thank you very much. We will be back throughout the summer with more STP pit stops and tips on driving from the king of stock car racing.
.450 degrees. That's how hot parts of your car's engine can get, even in ordinary driving.
Watch how heat and stress can break apart your oil's protective molecules. That's motor oil breakdown. STP oil treatment's heat-activated molecules fight motor oil breakdown, fortifying your oil with extra lubricants and anti-wear agents.
Get extra protection. Fight motor oil breakdown with STP oil treatment. STP. Your car care company.
When you want to get there in style,
It's the Ford Bronco 2. Around town in two-wheel drive, or when the going gets tough, there's Bronco 2's four-wheel drive. And with Bronco 2's special interior by Eddie Bauer, you've got sort of a symphony in motion. That's a big hit. Anywhere you go. Ford Bronco 2.
Hey, Harry Gant, what's it like driving the Skull Bandit?
It ain't easy. Even in practice.
What's it like using Skull Bandits?
That's real easy.
Skull Bandits is tobacco in a neat little pouch. You don't chew it. Just put one between your cheek and gum and enjoy the refreshing taste. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing.
It's that easy.
Try Skull Bandits, the little pouch of pleasure, in wintergreen or new mint.
Tomorrow, ESPN is your driving force. Join us for live coverage of NASCAR's Valleydale 500 and see who takes the checkered flag. Later, Oklahoma meets Oklahoma State in a live college baseball battle between two top 20 teams. It's a safe bet ESPN has the best in sports tomorrow.
139 laps are completed. Here are the top five. Tommy Ellis, the leader. Ronnie Silver running second. Rick Masters third. Darrell Waltrip fourth. And Tommy Houston running in fifth spot. Now, those five cars are on the lead lap. In sixth position, we have Larry Pearson. Then seventh is Bosco Lowe. Eighth is Ronnie Thomas. And in ninth spot, unofficially, Ed Barrier. Now, let's go down to the pit area. Jackaroo tees with Jeff Bodine.
Jeffrey, exactly what happened out there?
Well, first off, we had a right front shock mount brake. We brought a short track car here, and it just wasn't strong enough for the strain that this track puts onto it. That broke off, so I slowed up. And then when I got out back in the lead, that let Ingram get outside of me off this corner, and I didn't see him up to my corner. And where he came off, I came out to the wall where the groove is, and I got turned sideways into the wall, and then, you know, the rest is history. You saw what happened.
It's starting to look like a demolition derby out there, though. Is that normal for this type of racetrack?
Well, it can't happen here. Yeah, the speeds are fast. So much strain on these race cars. Like, we broke a shock mount. I think my brother bent a mount in the rear suspension. You know, it's just tremendous amount of strain on this racetrack. Most everybody just has a regular short track car here, and they're really not strong enough for this type of racing. Plus, I guess a few guys might be making a few mistakes out there, but it has been an awful rough race.
Well, a tough day for Jeff Bodine, but he'll be back in the field tomorrow for 500 times around this racetrack.
And we'll be here live with that coverage for you at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. We are still under caution at Bristol International Raceway. We'll have more in just a moment in the Budweiser 200.
Hi, I'm John Chapman, and we're here at David J. Enterprises on Pearl Road in Strongsville. I would like you to meet Nicholas Talos and his mother. Nicholas is only 22 months old and is suffering from cerebral palsy. Between now and April 30th, David J. Enterprises will donate 10% of all labor charges to the Nicholas Talos Fund. Please help Nicholas battle this disease by bringing your car in between now and April 30th or by mailing a donation directly to the Nicholas Talos Fund in care of any branch of Elyria Savings and Trust.
The 30th Annual Ceramic Show, sponsored by the Ceramic Hobbyist Guild of Greater Cleveland, is an open competition for all levels. See the newest innovations in ceramics, demonstrated by professionals from all over the country. Proceeds will benefit charitable organizations promoting the ceramics program. Join us March 29th, 30th, and 31st at Michaud's Town & Country on Pearl Road in Strongsville. For more information, call Kathy Thompson, 467-4508.
The green flag is back on, and the race continues. Ronnie Silver is now the leader of the race in car number 14, the second car there on your screen. Car leading the way around. Actually, there are two cars ahead of the leader, Larry Pearson in 21, and Bosco Lowe. The third car, the Coors Light Silver Bullet number 14, driven by Ronnie Silver, the leader. Right behind him, the second place car of Rick Mast.
Well, officially, there are now 7 cars on the lead lap, but Pearson in 21 and Bosco Lowe in 27, those two basically. And trouble in the fourth turn, and Tommy Ellis has hit the inside wall. Boy, was that a close one. Ellis Ellis came within a couple of feet from really having a serious crash. He hit the inside guardrail with the left side of the car.
Jackie Arute saw it. Jack, what happened?
It's an outgrowth of why they were calling him in, Bob. There was a blistered right rear tire, and they were trying to call him in here to change it. He came out of turn number 4 on the low side, and it looked as if he maybe had a momentary hesitation as to whether to continue around one more time. And he just walloped the retaining barrier with two big construction tires to mark the entrance to pit road. He's pulled up behind pit wall, but there's trouble on the front straightaway as well. Cars are slipping and sliding all over here.
So we'll keep an eye on this area of the racetrack. Those tires, as you mentioned, that protect the abutment of the pit wall have been moved over slightly, and now that is a very dangerous situation.
Well, Ronnie Silver has been leading for most of the last 5 minutes, but watch this. He gets just a wee bit out of shape coming out of turn number 4. There goes Rick Mast to the high side. Rick right away seizes the opportunity. He goes by. Darrell Waltrip follows him through, and just shortly thereafter, you can see Waltrip has moved past Rick Mast and Darrell Waltrip. I think we've seen him lead a couple of other races before. He's in the lead.
The typical Darrell Waltrip race doesn't really show much strength at the beginning of the event, but just wait for the last 30 or 40 laps, and he will be up front. Mast is in second spot, and now Tommy Houston in third. Ronnie Silver has fallen back to 4th position. Back down to Jack Arute.
Here's what you call a blistered right rear tire. Here's what you call a blistered race car driver. Tommy, what happened out there?
I just tried to get in the pits. And I thought I could make it, but it was too slick down there. I just couldn't come in that fast.
The track is very, very slick today. Did you expect
slick,
that?
But there's a lot of oil down in there. I just tried too hard.
A tough afternoon for Tommy Ellis.
Tommy, of course, the pole sitter, and now the track record holder of the one-lap mark here at Bristol, but out of the race at the current time. Darrell Waltrip is the leader, and Rick Mast in that blue car in second spot. We've had 8 lead changes among 5 drivers in this event. Tommy Ellis was the early leader. Jeff Bodine has led, so has Tommy Houston, so has Jack Ingram, and Ronnie Silver, and now Darrell Waltrip is in front.
Well, Bob, without a doubt, Rick Mast in that two-tone blue car would be the sentimental favorite here at Bristol. This track has treated him very well in recent years, and it looked like he was in a nice position to maybe waltz home the leader here. But Darrell Waltrip has come from hiding position in the bushes and gotten around Rick Mast. What we have is a relatively young driver, Rick Mast, trying to find the right combination to unlock the secret to beating the veteran Darrell Waltrip. Yellow flag is back out of the racetrack. I don't know exactly the reason for the incident, but this will give Rick Mast a breather and move him right up to the tail of Darrell Waltrip.
What they're going to do, Larry, is move those big tires back into their position, because that is a very dangerous situation down there at the entrance to pit road. So there are the crew members and some of the officials here at Bristol Raceway that are going to roll that tire back into their proper positions. Well, this will be quite an accomplishment for Darrell Waltrip. He started this race in 16th position and now leads. He was out-qualified by about 3 miles an hour. Ellis qualified at 116.8 and Waltrip qualified at 113.9. Jimmy Hensley, the points leader, is back out onto the racetrack. We interviewed him, of course, a few minutes ago while he was sitting in the pits. And he's back out there just trying to accumulate more points that he hopes will carry him to the Late Model Sportsman Championship this year. 155 laps been completed now. The leader is Darrell Waltrip. Running in second position is Rick Mast. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Have you driven a Ford? When was the last time you had the kind of car that brings the road alive? Have you driven a Ford? Then you don't know what you're missing. Have you driven a Ford? Driven a Ford? Have you driven a Ford lately?
Kendall Motor Oil protects engines from friction. To prove how well, we plated ordinary piston rings with pure gold and ran them inside this engine for 5,000 miles. Kendall friction fighters are better than car makers demand. But can Kendall protect even soft gold? Look, no visible wear. That's protection. Friction-fighting Kendall Motor Oil. for protection worth its weight in gold.
Here at Bristol International Raceway, you'll watch as the cars work the racetrack, and they have a tendency to put some smoke out on the right side. Now, this is a normal tire here and the way it should look. When the car is smoking, when we see it on the racetrack, you begin to blister a tire, and that's what we see here. You take a good hard look at it, it literally peels the rubber right off the race tire. That's what happened to Tommy Ellis. That's what knocked him out of the race. Let's go up to Bob and Larry.
All right, Jackie, the first 11 cars that started this race are out of competition. Tommy Houston started in 12th spot and is now running in 3rd position. Darrell Waltrip has come from 16th starting position to lead this race, and Rick Mast is running in 2nd spot.
Well, what a Cinderella story that would be if Rick Mast was able to win this race. He started out as a dirt track racer, and he's been trying to run very competitive in this division.
Some very beautiful country here in the northeastern portion of Tennessee, and while we have the opportunity, we'd like to thank the officials here at Bristol, including Larry Carrier and Ted Jones, for their hospitality. Jack Arute takes a closer look at this beautiful facility here at Bristol.
Bristol International Raceway is more than just a stock car facility. Located at the crossroads between Tennessee and Virginia, it has a little something for everyone. Nestled behind the half-mile Bristol facility that runs the Grand National cars, and well within earshot, is the world headquarters for one of the best sanctioning bodies in drag racing, Larry Carrier's International Hot Rod Association. All of their activities take place right in that building behind me. But also within just a few short steps of this facility is one of the racetracks that they sanction, with some of drag racing's best competitors competing on the quarter mile at speeds well in excess of 200 miles per hour. The whole shots just thunder through the valley here, and some of the best blinding speeds you'll see in any drag racing facility occur right at Thunder Valley Dragway. It certainly is a different sight when the bleach boxes are empty and the starters' Christmas tree lights have been put up till the next event. Directly behind me, you'll see the quarter-mile drag strip, and beyond that, the runoff area. But something's a little different about Thunder Valley Dragway. There's a right-hand turn at the end of that runoff area. The reason? Well, there was a mountain in the way, and it would have taken too much dynamite to go through it, so they went around it. You want to bust some broncs? Well, you can do just that behind Bristol Raceway as well, at the Thunder Valley Stables and Showgrounds. Now, the barns behind me are where they house Arabian show horses that are sold periodically here. And in front of us, right here across this fence, is a rodeo stadium where they bring in some of the best professional rodeo riders to the southeast, right here within earshot of Winston Cup Grand National Racing. The entire Bristol facility is such a wonderful melding together of horses and rodeos and drag racing and Grand National stock car racing. You name it, it's here at Thunder Valley. And the thing that's most impressive to me is the cleanliness. The whole place is just so spotless. Well, almost. Back to you, Bob.
You ought to be glad you're working in the pit area today, Jackie, instead of where you were yesterday.
I have no comment about it.
162 laps have been completed, and Darrell Waltrip has taken off like a shot and now has about a half a straightaway advantage on Tommy Houston running in second. When the green came out just a couple of laps ago, Rick Mast got off to a very bad start and has fallen back a couple of positions.
Yeah, Bobby seems to be completely back up the top speed again. He's lopping off some of the tail enders with a great deal of speed, but he's lost too much ground to really be a challenge to Darrell Waltrip. This puts Tommy Houston comfortably in second position behind that man, behind Darrell Waltrip. And running in third is Ronnie Silver, who had to pit. We were a little surprised that he came in under the last yellow flag. But at this point, we have no idea if Mast has a chance or not, because he's running very hard to get caught up. But without another caution flag, it's pretty unlikely that Rick has a chance now at victory. But he's really running fast, I'll tell you that.
Late Model Sportsman Series has really changed in the last couple of years. It used to be a very minor league where they ran just about every Friday night or Saturday night, but now it's a 26-event series and competing on 9 super speedways, and it of course attracts some of the best local drivers from this area of the United States and the Grand National drivers on occasion. And the Grand National competitor, Darrell Waltrip, is the leader of this Budweiser 200 here at Bristol this afternoon.
Now, one of the guys who has showed up here this week to run in the Bristol Raceway is that man right there. If you follow Grand National Racing, you might recognize the name Ronnie Thomas. 32 laps to go. Ronnie Thomas has had some trouble in the race here today. He did not qualify particularly quick on this basically half-mile racetrack, but Ronnie wanted to show up and run and do well because he, too, is almost like a hometown boy. His hometown of Christiansburg, Virginia, is just up the road northeast along the interstate. Christiansburg, Virginia is. Ronnie's the guy who's been struggling, trying to make a name for himself in Grand National racing the past few years, and every once in a while picks up one of these late model sportsman rides.
There is Waltrip, the leader, and now Rick Mast, who had backed off when the green came out several laps ago, is back up there and battling for position. As a matter of fact, he has just passed Tommy Houston, and Rick Mast has now put himself in second position once again. There he is, the blue car, headed down the backstretch. Ronnie Silver has also moved around Tommy Houston. So Silver is in third spot, and Tommy Houston is back in fourth.
Well, there's no way, because we only have 28 laps left, that Mast is going to catch Darrell Waltrip. But I got to believe right now that Rick Mast is the fastest guy on the racetrack. He has really put 5 sails to the wind and has taken off. He has improved his stock in life by 2 positions in the last couple of laps.
It's about a half a lap lead, though, for Darrell Waltrip. It's really hard to see what happened to him when the car just wouldn't work a few laps ago, and he lost several positions and a lot of racetrack, but now he's apparently got the kinks worked out of that car and is in second spot now. There's Ronnie Silver from Asheville, North Carolina. He runs in third spot.
Now, the man who is from the city on a plateau, Asheville, North Carolina, it's near the Smoky Mountain National Park, and it's really a beautiful setting if you've never been to Asheville, North Carolina. Silver has been a consistent top 5 finisher in this type of racing, and it looks like he has another one coming in here today.
Well, we'll see how good Larry Nuber is. He said he thought that Mast was running faster than Darrell Waltrip. We'll see.
I'll stick my neck out on the line. I timed Ronnie Silver, or rather Rick Mast. He was at 17.56 seconds. So
then you cheated.
I have really stuck myself out on the line. I have not timed Waltrip, but as I mentioned, Mast was 17.56. Let's see.
And there's the clock, 17.4 seconds on that lap for Darrell Waltrip. Now, as soon as Rick Mast comes around, or maybe we'll give him another lap, we'll see how fast he's running. We'll do that next time around.
Well, so far it looks like I'm a deceiver for 1/10 of a second.
Okay. Mast now headed down the backstretch into turn number 3. Rick is from Rockbridge, Bass, Virginia. Here he comes. We'll start the clock on him. Has a slower car in front of him. That's number 27 of Bosco Lowe, so that may cause him to slow down just a little
bit. Not to mention the fact that Bosco has been in the top 10 all day long. He's only 1 lap behind, but you can see how much he's slowing down Rick Mast.
Well, Rick is taken to the outside. Isn't going to be able to pass Bosco on this lap, and the clock stops at 17.5. So Nuber is wrong again.
Well, by not that much, though, my goodness.
179 laps are complete now in the Budweiser 200 here in Bristol, Tennessee, and Darrell Waltrip is the leader of the race. Well, we'll continue as we have today the first live telecast for you on Auto Racing 85. We'll be right back.
Just hear the stock cars rolling down that high bank track. Better keep your eye on number 5, cause he ain't looking back. That's Levi Garrett.
Yeah, Boda.
Coming through.
And Harry Hyde.
Taste that flavor coming through for you. Time after time, the quality comes through. That's why Levi Garrett is the brand I'm proud to choose. Levi Garrett,
Bristol, Tennessee, the Budweiser 200, where Darrell Waltrip has the lead, about a half a lap lead now on second place. Rick Mast, the average speed of this event to this point, 71.865 miles an hour. We have had 9 lead changes, and the 6 drivers have been in the lead. And the only serious accident occurred up in turn number 2 early in the race when Morgan Shepherd had a rather serious encounter with the outside wall, and there was a little bit of flame involved in the crash, but Morgan okay. Then there was an accident involving Jeff Bodine and Jack Ingram, but those drivers also okay. Other than that, it's been a pretty clean race and a very competitive one.
And only 12 laps to go. This race is almost over. Remember, this is just a half-mile racetrack. Very short time it takes to get around here, so Waltrip really looks to be in good position. There you see him putting a lap on Tommy Houston. He is lapping the 4th place car right now, so Waltrip is running pretty fair country in his own right. He's moving through the field. He's lapped a lot of cars in the last 10 laps, and despite the fact that he has a comfortable, healthy lead, Darrell Waltrip is not slowing down a bit. Whooping his tires, going to the 35, 36-degree bank.
Only 3 cars now on the lead lap, and Darrell is coming up on the 3rd place car driven by Ronnie Silver, and will undoubtedly be lapping him in just a few laps. L.D. Ottinger runs right behind Darrell Waltrip. L.D. had some smoking problems with that car earlier and was called into the pits, and he made several pit stops, as a matter of fact, but we see no evidence of smoke from that car now. As a matter of fact, L.D. is hanging right with Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell Waltrip from Franklin, Tennessee, Owensboro, Kentucky, of course, very much a part of the history of this driver. A guy who has had a tremendous amount of success on the Grand National Trail in the past few years. Controversial, yes, but also very, very fast.
Brett Bodine is still in the race. You'll remember when Morgan Shepherd hit the wall, Brett got that car sideways, and it looked like he was going to be involved in the Morgan Shepherd accident, but he did not. And he has continued to run steady in this race and is shown right now in 12th position.
Bodine there in the red, what else? Pontiac late model Sportsman. Following behind Tommy Houston as we go back up front to Darrell Waltrip, the leader, putting a lap on the 3rd running car of Ronnie Silver in car number 14. There is Jeff Hensley in car number 2. He is the youngest regular driver on the Busch Series. He actually started racing cars way back when he was in high school. Now, this is Jimmy's cousin. This is not the brother of Jimmy Hensley, but Jimmy's cousin. Matter of fact, that car is maintained by Jeff's father, who used to campaign race cars for Jimmy Hensley.
Darrell Waltrip has passed Ronnie Silver, so now there is only one other car besides Darrell Waltrip on the lead lap, and that is Rick Mast. And I don't think that he's going to be able to lap the 2nd place car because there's about a half a lap difference between the two, and we now only have 4 more laps to go.
Well, when you're on the lead, I suppose the laps go by very slowly. But boy, do they go by quickly when you're watching here from the grandstand. With just those 16-second laps, you look down at your piece of paper, you look up, and 5 laps have gone by, and Waltrip is really making the most of it. Darrell Waltrip, the man who won a very exciting late model sportsman race at the Daytona International Speedway to begin the 1984 season, looks like he's in line for yet another LMS win.
Well, if he does hang on to win this race, we will have 4 winners in 4 races in 1985 on the NASCAR Late Model Sportsman Series. Bodine, Earnhardt, Hensley, and now it looks like that Darrell Waltrip is going to put his car in the victory lane. By the way, this is a Goodies 300 invitation race. There are a series of these Goodies invitation races held. The winner automatically gets an invitation to the Goodies 300, which is held yearly during Speed Weeks at Daytona International Raceway. The white flag has been displayed. Darrell Waltrip on his final circuit. And he comes off of turn number 4, takes the checkered flag. Darrell Waltrip salutes the crowd and wins the Budweiser 200 here in Bristol. And 2nd place, Rick Mast, is in turn number 4, and a very, very good performance today by Rick Mast, 2nd place.
Well, Bob, that's 4 times in a row the young man from Virginia has finished in the top 5, and this is his best finish ever in his career in the late model sportsman division. 2nd place for Rick Mast, and he has one heck of a lot to be proud of here today.
And as we indicated, quite an accomplishment from Darrell, who started in 16th spot. There's the Coors Light Silver Bullet driven by Ronnie Silver coming into the pit area, and he is shown as the 3rd place finisher. Unofficially in 4th will be Tommy Houston, and in 5th spot, Larry Pearson, car 21.
Well, Ronnie Silver makes the habit of being in the top 5 as Silver and Houston come together. They're in the pit area, have perhaps a couple moments of discussion about that. Ronnie Silver makes a habit of finishing in the top 5 in this type of racing. He has done it again. Waltrip, by the way, has won 4 times previously in the late model sportsman division. Now, this division was reorganized in 1982, so actually the career statistics only go back as far as 1982. Darrell has always been a force in this type of racing, but since the reorganization back in 82, he has won 4 times, now 5 times, the 5th win in his career for Darrell Waltrip.
6th place finisher shown is Bosco Lowe. 7th would be Ronnie Thomas. Then 8th, Jimmy Lawson. 9th spot, Jeff Hensley. And in 10th, the number 04 of Eddie Falk. Well, there's Darrell Waltrip's car being pushed into victory lane.
Well, these drivers will next move back to the Martinsville, Virginia. Just a little racetrack. I guess they call it a half mile now, don't they? I've never been quite sure exactly what it is, but I know it's real beautiful. I know that.
Yeah, it really is. It's one of the most beautiful racetracks in this area of the country, and Clay Earls, the owner of it, is very proud. Unfortunately, a rain out last Sunday of the 500 lapper, 3 divisions, so they rescheduled for this coming Saturday.
But just to give you an idea of the versatility of the cars and drivers in this division, after running at Martinsville, Virginia, we will next see these late model sportsmen on the 1.366 mile racetrack at the Darlington, South Carolina. And if late model sportsman racing is a contact sport, Darlington ought to make this a collision sport. That is always exciting to see the LMS cars and stars at the Darlington racetrack. There's Darrell Waltrip pulling into victory lane. I guess a route that he probably knows pretty well. He's been in there a few times in the last 10 years in his career.
Well, the average speed of the race, 74.372 miles an hour, and I will never forget the late model sportsman race that we had last year at Darlington. It was one of the most outstanding races I have ever seen.
Well, it's a tight racetrack to begin, and when you try to run 2 and 3 abreast, it makes it even tighter.
Well, the winner's circle is being brought to you by Goodyear. Goodyear tires and Goodyear service for more Goodyears in your car. Now down to Jackaroot in victory lane with Darrell Waltrip.
Well, this is kind of a familiar place for Darrell Waltrip. Darrell, you've been here before, but the first time in a late model sportsman car.
Well, it's a real thrill to win here today. This is my first year for Budweiser to sponsor my sportsman car, so I'm happy for them. And I want to thank the good Lord for a safe race and helping us get through yesterday. We had a trying time there. The car didn't run very well, and we kept working on it, Eddie and everybody, and we got it going good. And I'd like to say hello to everybody at St. Louis and thank the good Lord and thank all of our sponsors, Colonial Bread and everybody. It was a good day for us.
There was a period during the middle of the race when the car began to slow down. What was the problem?
We had a plug wire against a header, and it was running on 7 cylinders. I told Eddie, I said, Morgan and some of these guys are running so good on 6. Let's try it on 7 for a while. We were able to keep up, but hitting on all 8 really made a difference.
Well, with what you did here with 200 laps, what's the story for tomorrow? Did you learn something that you can put to good use tomorrow in the Budweiser Chevrolet?
I think so. My car stayed really, really good, and I changed it a little bit today, anticipating the sealer that would wear off and whatnot. And, I think I got the combination. If I can just use it in tomorrow's race, I'll be in good shape.
Well, you and Stevie are expecting later this year, and you've started your win streak. Is this one you're going to be able to tell your son or your daughter about?
Well, in 81 and 82, I said, we got to have a championship, baby. So this could be the signs, or this could be the start of another championship. I hope so, because it's going to be a championship, baby. We're going to take it to New York and let it set in the Winston Cup.
Stevie, I understand he's got 2 very unique names picked out.
Victoria Lane.
Where we are right now.
And Winston Cup.
That'll be WC to everybody else.
Well, that's the story from Winston Cup Victory Lane, and I can't believe that.
Well, it's Darrell's first victory in 1985, and I'm sure there will be more to come. He took the lead, by the way, on lap number 147 and led the remaining 53 laps. The time of the race was 1 minute, 25 minutes, and 58 seconds. Average speed just a little bit more than 74 miles an hour. 6 leaders and 6 lead changes. We had 7 caution periods. 50 laps were run under caution, but no serious injuries. We'll be back to wrap up the Budweiser 200 here at Bristol International Raceway. Darrell Waltrip has won this event.
Indianapolis, where the gladiators of the automotive world do battle, where one competitor has dominated the Indy 500. It is a tire Born of advanced design and innovative technology, the only tire to qualify. For the past 10 years, the only tire on every car in the Indy 500.
This Bud's for everyone who scrapes it, sprays it, and lays it on smooth. Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser. For all you do. This Bud's for you.
The Budweiser 200 has been brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And by STP Corporation. On the world's racetracks and on the world's roads, depend on STP, your car care company. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? We urge you to be with us at 1 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow for the running of the Valleydale 500 Grand National Race right here in Bristol, Tennessee. That's live tomorrow at 1 p.m. As we take a look now at the top 5 finishers in this Budweiser 200, for Larry Nuber and for Jackie Root, this is Bob Jenkins saying so long. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock from Bristol International Raceway.
United.